Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're diving into something pretty fascinating. It's OpenAI's economic blueprint. And we're not just talking about the latest AI tech here. This is about how America can use AI strategically. For economic dominance and global influence, we're going to be talking about things like national security, a potential nationwide AI infrastructure overhaul, and this really interesting idea of democratic AI.
Yeah, it's really interesting how OpenAI presents AI as like this crucial factor in national power. It's almost like a modern day space race. They even make this comparison to the rise of the automobile industry. You know how cars weren't actually invented in the US,
Yeah.
but America really embraced that industry and it led to global leadership. OpenAI is suggesting that the US needs to have that same mindset with AI to maintain its edge.
That's a really thought-provoking comparison. They even bring up the UK's attempt to regulate automobiles early on, with the 1865 Red Flag Act, which basically killed innovation by requiring someone to walk in front of every car with a red flag and limiting the speed to 4 miles per hour. It's like a warning about what could happen with overregulation.
Right, and OpenAI is really pushing for a more proactive approach with AI. They see a real danger of other countries, especially China, taking the lead. If America hesitates, they highlight the massive global investment going into AI and warn that if the US doesn't attract those funds, they'll probably end up going to projects backed by China, which would boost their influence globally.
And this leads us to one of the main themes in the blueprint, this idea of democratic AI. So what does that actually mean, and how does it translate into actual policies?
Well, democratic AI, as OpenAI defines it, has a few core principles. First, it supports a free market approach to AI development, encouraging competition and innovation. Then it emphasizes individual freedom and how people can use and interact with AI tools. And finally, it aims to prevent authoritarian use of AI, making sure it's not used to control people or threaten other nations.
So it's about developing and using AI responsibly,
Mhm.
within a system that supports democratic values. But they're not only talking about AI in general. They specifically mention frontier models, which are like the most advanced AI systems.
Exactly. They believe these frontier models are key to unlocking major economic and societal benefits. And they're advocating for a national strategy that focuses on their development and deployment. This includes sharing them responsibly with allies, which they see as a way to counter China's growing influence in the global AI landscape.
Sharing this kind of powerful technology definitely raises some concerns. How can we be sure these models won't be misused or fall into the wrong hands?
That's a valid concern, and OpenAI acknowledges the potential risks that come with these powerful models. They propose a few safeguards, like the preparedness framework, with teams of experts who red team their models, basically trying to break them and find any weaknesses.
So they're trying to find the vulnerabilities before someone else does. What about security threats? Especially with the possibility of AI creating really sophisticated cyber attacks.
They're addressing that proactively, too. They're working with top defense organizations like Los Alamos National Laboratory and Andorra to evaluate and minimize those risks.
It sounds like a multi-layered approach to security, combining internal testing with external expertise. But how do they ensure these safeguards are actually put into practice, not just written down on paper?
Well, this is where their concept of rules of the road comes in. They see these as essential guidelines for developing and using AI responsibly, addressing critical issues like child safety, content provenance, and user personalization.
Those are all incredibly important areas,
Mm.
especially as AI becomes more integrated into our lives. What specific steps has OpenAI taken to address these issues?
They've put strong child safety measures in place. They actively work with organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and they collaborate closely with law enforcement agencies to combat the potential use of AI in creating child sexual abuse material.
It's good to hear. What about content provenance? With the rise of AI-generated content, it's becoming more difficult to tell what's real and what's made by a machine. How are they handling that?
They're developing robust provenance methods to track and identify AI-generated content. They're also working with groups like the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, or C2PA, to set common standards across the industry.
So they're not just coming up with their own solutions. They're actively working with others to create industry-wide standards.
Exactly.
Right.
They understand that for these solutions to really work, it needs to be a collaborative effort.
With all this advanced technology and the security measures around it, it makes you think about the infrastructure needed to support it all. It seems like a massive undertaking.
You're absolutely right. That's another crucial part of OpenAI's blueprint, what they call infrastructure as destiny. They argue that America needs to make a huge investment in AI infrastructure, things like chips, data energy, and talent, to reduce costs and create economic opportunities. And they're not talking about small changes. They're calling for a bold national commitment to building an AI-powered future.
That's a powerful statement.
All right.
What specific infrastructure proposals are they putting forward? What does this destiny actually look like?
They have some pretty radical ideas, like creating what they call AI economic zones. Imagine designated areas with fast-track permitting for building crucial AI infrastructure, solar arrays, wind farms, even nuclear reactors. They're talking about creating the perfect environment for AI to thrive.
That's a big change from how things are usually done. I'm seeing a theme here. Think big, act boldly. Any other notable proposals?
They're also pushing for a nationwide AI education strategy, partnering with American companies to give the workforce the skills they need for this new AI-driven world. And maybe the most ambitious of all, they propose a national AI infrastructure highway to connect regional power and communication grids, creating a strong and resilient foundation for AI development and deployment.
So it's a truly holistic approach, addressing everything from energy production to workforce development. They're painting a picture of America as a global leader in AI. But achieving that takes more than just technological advances, right?
Absolutely. It requires a fundamental shift in our thinking. Like the shift that happened with the rise of the automobile, America needs to see AI not just as some cool new technology, but as a core part of its future economic and geopolitical power. It's about embracing the intelligence age and leading the way.
And OpenAI's blueprint is trying to provide that roadmap,
Mm.
showing how America can seize this opportunity. It's about creating a dynamic, democratic AI ecosystem, making bold investments in infrastructure, and establishing clear rules of the road to ensure responsible development and use. It's a big vision, but it's also a call to action.
It's not just about building completely new infrastructure, though. We also need to make sure we're using what we already have effectively.
You're talking about data, right? The fuel that powers AI.
Exactly. OpenAI really emphasizes making sure AI models can learn from publicly available information, just like we do as humans.
That makes sense. The more data AI can access, the better it can learn and improve.
Right. And they have some interesting ideas for making that happen.
Like what?
Well, one is to digitize government data that's still in analog form. A lot of this data is already public. So making it accessible and machine readable would be really valuable for AI developers, especially those working in areas that rely on government data.
Like healthcare or transportation.
Exactly. And in exchange for access to this data, developers could work with the government to find new insights, which could lead to better public policies.
So it's a win-win situation.
Exactly. They also propose this thing called a compact for AI among U.S. allies and partner nations.
What would that involve?
It would basically be an agreement to make it easier to access capital and supply chains, to support AI infrastructure development and a strong AI ecosystem across those countries. It would also include setting some common security standards.
So it's like a collaborative approach to building a global democratic AI network.
Exactly. And over time, this collaboration could grow, maybe even becoming a strong counterbalance to China's influence in the AI space.
Speaking of global competition, OpenAI also talks about how important talent is for securing America's leadership in AI.
Absolutely. They stress the need for a national AI education strategy, one that starts in local communities and involves partnerships with American companies.
To prepare the current and future workforce for the challenges and opportunities of this AI age.
Exactly. This would include solid funding for pilot programs, bigger technology budgets for school districts, and professional development for educators.
To make sure everyone has the chance to become AI ready.
Right. And they even suggest using the expertise of AI companies to help develop this talent.
How so?
They propose requiring AI companies to give significant computing resources to public universities. This would help train more people in AI and could be tailored to the specific needs of different regions and industries.
So, for example, Kansas could focus on AI in agriculture, while Texas might prioritize AI in energy.
Exactly, matching the training to the unique economic landscape of each region.
Now, all this talk about infrastructure and talent leads us to another key element, energy.
Of course, training and running these powerful AI models takes a huge amount of energy. OpenAI acknowledges that a reliable energy supply is crucial for keeping America in the lead in AI.
And they're not just talking about keeping the current energy infrastructure going. They're saying we need to lead the way in developing next-generation energy technologies.
Exactly, including things like fission fusion and other promising options.
This connects back to their proposal for AI economic zones, with faster permitting to encourage new energy infrastructure development.
Exactly, it's all connected.
And they go even further. They call for a big increase in federal spending on power and data transmission, and faster approval processes for new transmission lines.
They envision this national AI infrastructure highway connecting regional power and communication grids to create a strong and reliable backbone for the whole AI ecosystem.
Those are some ambitious ideas.
They are. But OpenAI argues that bold action is necessary if America wants to really win the AI race.
It's clear that they see AI as a game changer, with the power to change not just the economy, but society as a whole.
And they believe America has a real opportunity to lead this change. But the window is closing. If the U.S. doesn't act, other nations, especially China, are ready to take over.
So it's not just about AI itself. It's about global leadership in this intelligence age.
Exactly. And OpenAI's blueprint gives us a comprehensive vision for how America can take advantage of this opportunity.
But it's not a guaranteed success. It requires a real effort from everyone involved.
Policymakers, businesses, researchers, and individuals.
Working together to make this vision a reality.
Because the stakes are incredibly high.
The future of the American economy.
It's a place in the world.
And maybe even the future of the world itself. All depend on how we handle this AI revolution. It feels like OpenAI is asking for a level of investment similar to those big historical infrastructure projects, like the Interstate Highway System or the Transcontinental Railroad.
Yeah, you're right. And they argue that historically those investments have really paid off, driving economic growth and making America a global leader.
And they believe AI infrastructure deserves that same commitment and funding.
Exactly. They even suggest using federal backstops for high-value AI public works projects.
How would that work in practice?
Basically, the government would provide things like off-take purchase commitments and credit enhancements to encourage private investment in these huge projects. It's kind of like how they incentivized renewable energy development in the past.
So it's about reducing risk for private investors and making these ambitious projects more appealing financially.
Right. And the infrastructure that comes out of these projects, like new energy sources to power AI data centers, would be considered strategic national assets.
Essential for keeping America competitive in AI.
Exactly.
This OpenAI blueprint is really thorough. It covers everything from national security to education to energy policy.
It's a bold vision. It's a call to action for America to embrace the potential of the intelligence age.
And to do it in a way that supports democratic values and benefits everyone.
It's a powerful reminder that AI isn't just some new gadget. It has the potential to completely change the world.
And the decisions we make today, the investments we prioritize, the policies we put in place, they'll all determine what that future looks like.
Will America step up and lead in this new era, or will we fall behind?
OpenAI's blueprint gives us the possible path forward, but it's going to take a collective effort to make it happen.
Policymakers, businesses, researchers, individuals, we all need to work together.
Because what's at stake is huge.
The future of the American economy, our place in the world, and maybe even the future of the world itself. It all comes down to how we handle this AI revolution.
OpenAI's economic blueprint gives us a lot to consider. It raises important questions about America's role in the future of AI and how this technology will affect our lives.
It's a really interesting and timely analysis of a technology that's rapidly changing everything.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into OpenAI's vision for an AI-powered future. It's a conversation that's just getting started.
Absolutely. Until next time.